Let's see it. It's just a conversation.
Yeah, I figured. I overthink everything.
Yeah, I don't have interview questions.
Yeah, it's just a conversation, like you said.
You know, we met at the Commons maybe a month ago. Took your photo.
Yeah.
It came out great.
It did. Thank you.
But here, don't worry about this camera.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But
okay.
I just start. Let me make sure it's on. I start with people's origin stories, their beginnings. Mm-hmm. Tell me about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised, Seattle, Washington. Where was I born and raised? I was born here.
And raised your parents raised you?
Yeah, they're from Ethiopia, but they came here in like the late 80s.
Okay.
89.
Gotcha.
And then I have 7 brothers and sisters. You know, kind of a lot.
That was my next question. Did you grow up with any siblings?
Yes, and we were very close. Like we kind of helped raise each other, you know.
And where are you in that lineup of kids?
Almost smack in the middle.
Oh, gotcha.
So the middle child curse is real too.
And tell me about home life. What was that like for you?
Well, basically, we leaned on each other a lot, like the siblings. And my dad was very hardworking, and he was never late to work. He was there Monday through Saturday. My mom was home majority of the time. When I was really young, she used to work, but that ended, and she was just always home and very involved.
Well, she definitely worked as a mom, taking care of
definitely
and didn't get paid.
8 kids, including me.
Yes,
yeah,
didn't get paid.
That's not an easy job.
No,
I have one, and I'm not.
Oh yeah, we'll get
I'm working on it. Yeah.
But so growing up, what did you guys do for fun growing up? All the kids.
Probably like our movie nights. Mm-hmm. We would get all our favorite snacks and watch like a scary paranormal or like comedy movie, and we'd be at home. We didn't get to go out much. Like not a lot of outings because there's so many of us too, so that makes it almost impossible. But those were special moments, like those movie nights, and it's like all of us getting in blankets and just huddling around the TV, and we'd rent a movie from Hollywood Video or something, or Blockbuster.
Yeah,
it was lit.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you went to high school?
Yes, I went to Chief Sealth High School in West Seattle. Then I ended up going to like so many different schools just because I moved out when I was like 16, 15. Bye. But I moved out pretty young just because it was somewhat dysfunctional and stuff. Like.
Well, tell me more about that. At 15 or 16, that's pretty young to move out of your family home. So what motivated you to do that? Well,
for one, I was very involved with family, so like I used to help a lot when it came to maintaining the household, taking care of each other, you know, and grocery shopping like by myself by like 12, you know, taking the bus to the store and stuff. But I, for the most part, was not self-sufficient because I didn't know what that was yet, but responsible. I was a lot more responsible. Like when I was like 15, 16, good at time management. My dad's work ethic, and my mom's like gangster. Because she was a very, thank you so much. Appreciate you, Wesley. She was a very like forward woman. Like she knew how to maintain and speak for herself. I don't know what you call it.
Are you guys
Is
cool?
that covered, you think?
That'll work. Are you guys cool if you give us like until this is finished, just so we can have some privacy, because we might get into some real stuff.
Stay near, but not far.
Here, put.
Is it
switch that mic. Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
Maybe like a little lower.
So
there you go.
Screaming into it.
No, it's perfect.
Okay.
So your mom. Explain your mom again.
My mom was a very, not just bossy, but she was like the boss of the house, kind of, because she was the one mainly watching and raising the 8 of us. She wasn't a pushover. Like she was kind of fearless. She was somewhat stuck in her ways, and I don't want to be that. But like anyhow, there was some good traits and other traits that I gotten from her.
Yeah.
You know.
And so at some point you were like,
I had to leave because she was starting to put me in juvenile a lot for no reason. Like, I'd come home late, 8 p.m., 6 or 8, whatever, and she felt like the way to regain control, which was very important to her, controlling, right, was to like scare me,
right,
by putting me in jail. And I'm like, Mom, this is like jail.
And
like,
how old are you?
This is my real record.
How old were you
creating
when you first?
15.
15. Put you in jail?
Yeah, and I never got in trouble outside of that home stuff.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, like if I stayed home, I'd been in and out like 10 times at least before, like I was even 17.
Oh wow.
And I never got into like crimes. So for me, it was like either I leave and try to form some kind of normal or stability or whatever you call it on my own, or stay here and possibly never graduate high school, never get any goals done because I wasn't feeling like I got the support I needed, and if anything I felt like I was just going backwards.
Gotcha.
Or like, and yeah.
So when you moved out, where'd you go?
Initially I just kind of had like some friends' parents that really thought I was okay or cool, and they cared enough about me to like allow me to sleep there here and there. I didn't really express to them fully what was going on because I was afraid to say like I'm just going to jail a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Like at that age I thought my life was just like going to, but obviously that's dramatic, but it's not a game. Like I'm getting cuffed, like real cuffs, and like going to real cells, you know? You know, so it's like, yeah. So anyhow, so some friends' parents let me stay with them, but then eventually I started dating someone that I was friends with for quite some time that also knew my brother. We all used to make music together. Their family took me in, and that was good for 2.5 years, luckily. But I was depressed being away from my siblings so long because like from being there every single day with these guys and then like being removed from that or removing myself, you know, it wasn't.
It's hard.
Easy, yeah. It's hard. Like a grieving process in a sense. Yeah, but I thought it was going to be for the greater good.
And so you're with this person for 2 years.
2.5 years, yeah.
And you're dating, and this is like a romantic relationship with this person, and then that.
But also friendship. We were very tight already. Right. Yeah. So then like. He like cared for me like as best as he could. We had to pay rent. It was not even $200, so it was like doable. You know, he's like 3 years older than me. I'm like 16, 17. He's like 19, 20. And it was cool for a period, like a good 1.5 years. Pretty much all good. Honeymoon phase, whatever you want to call it. It was my first love. But then, you know, like life is still life, you know. So. Yeah.
So that ended.
Yeah.
You moved on.
It kind of got inconsistent as far as me living there sometimes because the stepdad was like.
Oh, gotcha. And then
not feeling it sometimes.
Right.
We fought a lot towards like after 1.5 years. You know.
And so when you left that situation, where'd you go? And how old were you?
I was just kind of winging it.
18, 19?
When I left, I was 19, 18. I was kind of winging it for a while. Then I put myself through military school. Yeah.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So I'm not like a vet, but I did like live the lifestyle of kind of army.
What motivated you to say, I'm gonna need to enroll in this?
Initially, it was the fact that like I was gonna get like twice the amount of high school credits as I would have in 6 months in half the time. Or I would have got like a little more than a year's worth of high school credits in like half the time. And discipline, right? So I'm like, okay, if I can get through this, then like maybe that's gonna like challenge me to grow in the sense of like, I left really young from home.
Yeah, right.
15, 16, so like, and we already struggled as a family to have routines. We didn't really have routines. It was kind of just like whatever happens, right?
Yeah.
So like I was like, if I do this, I can gain a sense of like having an agenda, having discipline, having the things I need so I can be a good adult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that structure, the routine that you didn't have.
Yeah.
And high school, so you can make up some time.
Yeah. It felt like multiple birds.
Set you up for something else.
Yeah.
Successful.
Exactly, and being open-minded so that because discipline, I mean, that's so much harder. It was really not that easy during the time, but looking back, I really was grateful for it, because I made a lot of sisters. There's like 60 other girls.
Okay.
We ended with like 49 or 50.
So all girls?
Mm-hmm. Okay. My platoon. Okay. So there's 3 platoons, the first, second, and third platoon. Third platoon was the girls 16 to 18. I turned 19 in there. And it was 6 months long. I lived there every day. We had 2 home passes where I got to go see family. But you're supposed to get like letters and stuff or whatever. And it's like my family's not too consistent, but they did send a couple, But
was it out of state or in Washington?
It was in Washington.
Okay.
It was a bit of a drive or distance. It was Bremerton.
Yeah, it's a little bit of ways. Mm-hmm. And so you finished that, or?
I completed it, and it definitely did reassure me that like if I commit to something that I can see it through. So that was kind of like good and confident in a sense, because I mean, I didn't want to be there. A lot of times I wanted to quit.
Yeah,
because we technically could leave at any time we wanted.
Right.
And I've come close like once or twice, but I didn't like the feeling of defeat, or like I didn't do it for my own sake.
Yeah.
I wanted to prove it to myself. I wanted to prove it to my family, sort of too, but like it was mostly to know that if I wanted to see something through and I commit to something, that I will do it. Because I would start school years with like the mentality that, hey, I'm going to do good this year. I'm going to have good. I'm not going to have bad attendance.
We all do.
Yeah, like I'm going to be better. I'm going to kill it. But then it's like, okay,
I'm going to really do my homework and get good grades.
Like actually do it. Yeah, and not 30 different attendance issues or whatever, but it still happened. So this was kind of like my way of redeeming myself to myself.
Well, good. You should be proud. It sounds like you're proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Good job.
For that. Yeah, that was not easy.
So you graduated from that program?
Yeah, I graduated from that.
And then where does life take you?
So eventually I don't stay with my boyfriend a long time, or 3 years, and because we didn't maintain good contact in the program, the 6 months, and like I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to be the most supportive. Mm-hmm. He was my best friend too, but he did maintain contact. But when I got back, I just couldn't feel the same about some things, and I wanted to have life go differently when I came out. So I wanted to not circle everything around using and drinking and smoking all the time. Still do those things, but like let's like earn it type shit. I was a lot more motivated and ambitious when I was younger. Still ambitious and stuff, but just like you get a little more exhausted, life on life terms. Yeah. But I'm not a quitter, so yeah. And
so you didn't come back with him, and you went where?
So for a period, I tried staying with my mom again, because she was like all for me being with the family again, and she said she loved me being with my siblings. So I tried that, and it worked out for a couple months, because I worked Monday through Sunday. I was like, I didn't like being at home.
You purposely worked.
Yeah, intentionally.
Get away from home.
Yeah, plus I felt like if I'm making money, I'm not spending money. So I'm like, how can it not be great? So I was starting to get into my alcoholism in a sense, but I was really developing like a workaholic, but in my opinion it was like a healthy workaholic, because it's like I'm getting away from things that don't make me feel good.
Yeah, I can understand. That makes sense.
So I was like, okay, as long as I'm working, I'm gonna get to achieve my goals a lot sooner and easier. Sorry, that's not a good time. I'll just do this later. Sorry, that's awkward.
That's okay. I'm glad you caught it.
Yeah, I was like, let's just not. Okay, sorry. But anyway. Yeah, I was working, and I was making the most money I would have ever.
What were you doing for work? What was your job?
I worked at Starbucks Monday to Friday. I was a barista. I loved all my coworkers. Okay. But I was a barista. I was working, making drinks, memorizing all my customers' names and stuff.
You're waking up like 3 a.m. kind of thing?
No, luckily, I would never be able to commute.
You couldn't do that shift. You did.
I did the 1 p.m.
Perfect.
because I was starting to learn myself, right?
Great.
At military school, you wake up 4:45 every day.
Wow. Yeah. You did that.
You have to.
Yeah.
And you have to run like 3-4 times a week.
Wow.
That early. Like,
wow. But my guess is by the end of it, you're like,
I was so strong, like healthy and stuff. Because if you don't follow all the rules, or if you make mistakes, you get smoked, which is like work out till I'm tired of watching
gotcha.
you type thing.
So Starbucks, you worked there for a long time?
I worked Starbucks Monday through Friday, and I worked weekends at Macy's.
Oh wow.
Downtown Seattle.
Gotcha.
And that one was like flex, so like I got to choose when I worked and when I didn't. And I used to try to take my family on outings when I could, like, you know, or like give back to my mom. But then it became a thing of like, if you're not giving me money, like, what are you doing? Why are you here?
So you started to pay rent, wanted to, or
in a way, like it was like it became a requirement for me to exist there. It's like initially it was just like my own will. I did it because I wanted to, and I helped her with the 100 or whatever. But then it became a thing of like trying to control my income.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to use it wisely, so I should just be, you know, I'm like, I worked for it. You know?
It's your money.
It's my money, so like, if I got into even a minor like argument, dispute with my siblings, it's like, why are you yelling at my kids? So I started feeling isolated in a way, and it's like, money should not. Even my older siblings weren't really working or trying. But not to get too deep, but yeah. So
that didn't work.
I felt like I didn't.
So
yeah.
You got out of that place.
Eventually, yeah. So I started staying kind of like in my friend's place. Sometimes had to sneak in because they weren't allowed to have people over that frequently, and I would stay in their car, just kind of like couch surfing, just like making it work until I got to my goal. I knew I was gonna make my goal, so it's like, this is just now.
So that kind of, I guess.
That was like a good year.
That was. But it sounds like
I sometimes went back to my mom's.
You didn't have really home. You were homeless. Mm-hmm. Was that the first time, like, I kind of don't have a place? As
a real, like, starting to transition into, like, real adulthood, you know, while my friends are, like, going to college or whatever, like.
And you're sleeping in cars sometimes? Cars.
Staying in the car sometimes. And I would couch surf sometimes, but I didn't really like to ask too much of anyone, because I already felt like my mom made me feel like a burden for existing, you know? In that space, like I had to like pay my way.
And you're working this whole time as well?
Yeah, but then I eventually like, I got into a bad situation, and it kind of like had a snowball effect. Like I got like off of work one night at Macy's, downtown Seattle. This is before Seattle, downtown was like what it is now, way before. And got off work one night, it was like 7 p.m. I was on my way home, I was exhausted, like beat, and then I ran into a friend and they're like, oh, you owe me a drink, like jokingly, because like they like looked out for me. So I went to a bar and I'm like 19, whatever, but I get roofied that day, and then I like get robbed and stuff, and then it had an impact on my mental health. Like I started, because it was just unexpected, obviously, and just crazy, and it could have been a lot worse, you know, but then that affected my ability to go to work, trying to like figure out how to get my money back from like the car expense, and trying to remember like what happened to me, and try to deal with the situation. But then my job, after 2 weeks, they just like couldn't be more lenient. Like they were like, we get it, that happened, and like we get that you had a
traumatic event.
Yeah, but like, you know,
capital T, traumatic event.
Yeah, seriously. But then it's like they still want to maintain and run as a smooth business, and like they don't have time for our hiccups. So it's like they just let me go with Starbucks, which was my more consistent job.
Gotcha.
Monday through Friday, same time every day. And I just would have like 2-3 no-shows in that span of the 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
Initially, the first day, obviously, the first day after happened. But my point is, so they like got me off, and I started trying to pick up more shifts at Macy's, and just like the whole flow of everything kind of just.
Yeah.
And it was really like I was impacted too much to be able to show up as my best self
right.
for any of it. So I started working in Tacoma. which is closer to where my friend lived, the one that I was staying with for the most part. And I was working out of Tacoma, and I did that until I got my apartment at 20 years old.
Okay.
And I maintained that place for 6 years.
Living in Tacoma?
No, in Seattle.
Okay.
But I was working out of Tacoma. That kind of ended once I got approved finally for this housing opportunity in U District, North Seattle.
Great.
And by the way, I've lived in every part of Seattle. I was born like in South End, grew up a little in CD, and grew up in West Seattle. But then it's my first time living as an adult or person in U District, so it's just different, but it was cool.
But from 20 to 26, you stayed at one place in the U District.
I was able to maintain that place for 6 years.
Like, what was that experience like? That 6 years, did you pick up a job again?
Yeah.
You had like.
Soon after moving in, like a year after, I was like, okay, so I'm an alcoholic.
Oh, interesting.
So, like,
how did you come to that conclusion?
Well, like, you know, you get into housing and you get in your own apartment and you're like, okay, now I did it. I made it, right? Kind of. It's a huge part of building for yourself, right? It's a foundation, but that doesn't mean if you never knew stability that you're going to know how to do it, especially on your own, right? And I had like very little to like no support. But I did have support, you know, kind of. Anyway, so I was drinking a lot more. I thought it was just gonna end all like the crazy drinking days once I turned like 21. I was like, I'm gonna drink like adults.
But it kept going.
But it got worse. Yeah, and I'm starting to get blackouts, which is not something I like to do. And you know, not being conscious of like how I'm presenting myself or where I am or how I am. Like that's important to me. I've always been pretty good about maintaining that. Like for the years I was getting up to 21. From 15, 16, I was good about conscience, being not blacked out. But it started becoming a reoccurring thing, and I didn't like how I was presenting myself, or like what was, like whatever. Mm-hmm. So I decided to get sober once I was 21, like soon after, maybe 2 months after, as I drink. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll get there too, it's fine. Part of your story, and
it is what it is.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Again, no judgment here at all.
Yeah. But I did get sober soon after that. On my own terms, or like voluntarily or whatever. Mm-hmm. I put myself through treatment after talking to my counselor, my therapist. They're like, okay, yeah, we think you're a textbook alcoholic. Like, yeah, they like ask you these questions, and if it's like, oh yes, it's like, okay, yeah, there's no denying that there's a problem with this. Like me and my oldest sister, who was definitely an alcoholic, I used to look out for, kind of take care of in the streets when I was 15, 16. We used to joke about being alcoholics, but then we realized it's like, no, this is real life, and like might as well like nip it before it becomes 20 years just go by. Yeah, because the time waits for nobody.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so you got sober for how long?
I was sober for a year and 2 months without weed or alcohol or any substance. Pretty much like my trio, I would call it my trio: cigarettes, alcohol, weed, and I needed all three. And I always associated one with the other. So like going back into smoking weed, I had a fear, or not a fear, but a concern that like maybe it's gonna like make me drift off back into like my usual trio. But I was almost totally confident. I was like, no, if I did this for over a year now, and some change on my own term, or like my own, then I should be able to just smoke weed and leave it at just weed if that's what I consciously choose.
I'm curious.
Addiction is tricky.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah. Part of some people's recovery in some areas is, you know, program therapy.
Yeah, like not everybody does that.
Like there's that other piece.
Right.
And was that piece a part of your sobriety? Like,
yes, it was.
Like you were in that circle and.
Yeah. That's a great point to bring up, because I feel like for me, like I wouldn't have been able to maintain it or do it without the meetings and stuff.
Right.
Like Seattle has a lot of different, greater Seattle area, like has a lot of good meetings. I went to young people meetings. I went to like meetings with some OGs and stuff. Like they've been doing this for a long time.
Every day for everything.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So NA, AA. I was more of an alcoholic than anything, but like I liked NA. Yeah. So I went to like this young people's meeting in West Seattle, and you pick up like different shifts eventually, like greeter or like coffee maker or something. So it just kind of gives you some type of accountability, so you keep coming back. And that a lot of the meetings and like the people I made as my family, like kept me going and kept me like motivated, you know. But like once you start to like slowly drift off in any aspect of it, because it's first the want, you have to want it bad enough, and then the other thing is like the support that you have. And I had a lot of support while I was in these circles. Yeah, and they helped me like in whatever way they could, like giving me rides to meetings or like whatever, you know. I was able to like save money and stuff, like get a car, get my license, you know.
Awesome.
Like I was knocking goals out within, like I got a car within 3 months, 4 months of sobriety. So it's like you're able to do life better when you don't have as much substance or any influence of, you know, and being ADHD, it's like, it's hard to focus. But at the same time, when I am focused on something I'm interested in,
you hyper-focused.
I'm really on it.
That's you're hyper-focused.
Exactly. Right? So it's pros and cons.
Yeah, depending on the ADHD, right?
Yeah, because hyper-focus can happen in even not so great areas.
That's right,
like, I don't want to think about this, and it's like your brain's like, like illuminating it. And this is crazy.
Right. Well, let's see. So after a year,
and 2 months, I started smoking weed.
And that
drifted into like, that was a really crazy year for my family and for myself, kind of. Like it was a very impactful time. I don't know, like it was, I had to self-reflect a lot. But 2019, I was going to school. I put my brother and sister on with this information, like for IT's, the school. We all would have been making $35 an hour within a year, definitely, right? So like 4 of us. My older brother and sister, I had them go through it before I did, and nothing was like forced, obviously. Like they willingly, I told them information and I encouraged it heavily. I'm very passionate.
And they chose. Right.
And they chose, like, okay, like this sounds like something that's like gonna be worthwhile, you know? And then they went through the program, they completed it, they went to their internships, 6 months school, 6 months internship, and then it's like a job if you just stay consistent.
And you did that program as well?
I did it as well. I completed my school part, totally self-sabotage. Not intentionally, but maybe subconsciously. I don't know, subconsciously, I kind of did.
Well, self-sabotage.
Right when I was supposed to start my Fred Hutch internship.
Oh,
tell me.
Yes.
Yeah. But go ahead, self-sabotage.
Well, I don't know if I know enough to speak about that, but my inkling is something about, you said conscious or
subconscious.
Subconscious.
Yeah, like
that really like rang true with me. Like, yeah, you're right. Like I'm doing these things, and I don't know why I'm doing them, but I'm doing them.
When you reflect on it, it's like, okay, was I just doing this to literally like cause myself to fail, to blame something else?
I've done that in relationships.
Yeah.
We've done it in
it can happen
school,
in any aspect, opportunities.
Right.
Where it's just like,
and there's something deeper happening where it's like, that I don't know about.
Right.
But go ahead. And
I sat in jail for like 5 days. I got myself arrested. Just like I also had a mental breakdown, but it was kind of like just taking these antidepressants, trying to seek like getting the support mental health wise for my ADHD or like whatever. But like I was told this was gonna help with my ADHD, but this ended up almost making me like want to like unalive myself or like quit entirely. I hope I'm not covering up the mic. We'll see in the video.
We'll see in the edit.
We can hear it again. But like, I just had like an episode, I guess, and I don't get those too frequent. But
What episode? What do you mean?
Like a mental breakdown.
Like a breakdown.
Yeah. At the end of, like at the end of like doing the school thing. So like towards the end of the school thing, like I was like crawling. Like I was barely, because emotionally I was holding the weight of other people and still trying to be strong for myself, by myself in a sense, you know, because my sister was going through some shit and I was going through some stuff, and honestly life happens, and you know, everything happens for a reason. I do believe that, and if it didn't happen the way it did, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I'm like, okay, I can be thankful for that, but in the same time I'm like, I could have been a lot more like
Yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Can drive you
I can't
crazy.
get stuck in that.
Yeah, it can drive you mad.
I can't get stuck in that because, like, I do admire who I've come to be. But
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my flaws, obviously, and a lot that I want to work on. But anyway, it happened, and I lost my internship opportunity before it really even began. Right before, like literally that Monday.
Oh, right.
But it everything will happen the way it's supposed to, when it, you know, maybe it wasn't meant to. Obviously, it wasn't meant to
It
be.
was meant to be.
Obviously, yeah.
And it went a different way.
I did go to school. I did do the schooling though, like, so I can say that I completed that part. My little sister and I, she got fired a little before I did from even getting to the internship, and that like frustrated me, and I wanted to advocate for her also. I'm always trying to like fix everybody else's problems because it's, I guess maybe it's easier, or maybe it's just over expanding myself, like thinking I can do it all at once. That's the other thing with ADHD, like trying to finish like 15 projects and
Spread yourself.
like none of them get done. Spreading yourself too thin, that's for sure. But yeah, then I ended up in a not so great relationship that I couldn't really control or end for a couple of years, you know. And I was in love, and that's such a like bothersome thing, you know, for me. I don't want to be in love like that again.
Well,
because it was so taxing, and he was a liability. Like, I just lost so much. I don't know.
Yeah, love is a big word.
It's a hard.
And that usually has to do with the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is a relationship, but it was not good.
Right.
At all.
Right. And you go, is this love? What kind of love is this? Is this toxic?
Yeah, toxic.
Love, like what? And so.
Yeah, and then it's like, do I pull out? Do I pull in? And so I was kind of like somewhat back and forth, but I knew that I didn't need this or necessarily want it. Even from the beginning, I'm just like, I was giving more than I was getting, and not everything's about give and get, but it's just when it costs you more and costs you so much, and you're just like never going to be reciprocated, and that person doesn't see a problem with that, even when they recognize it, that is a huge issue.
Yeah.
You know, and no one deserves to be treated like that. You know.
Yeah.
But it was a lesson, and it was I guess a needed lesson.
Yeah. Well, was this where you had your child?
No, okay. Thank God. I mean, like, it's not great, the person I wrote with anyway, but that's a story of its own. But that person, I'm glad I didn't get stuck, because it would have been years and years of just, I would have been angry.
Well, I'm glad you stepped out of that relationship.
Yeah. I had to leave the state twice, you know?
Wow.
1 year, 2021, and then I left again 2022, both times for like a little over 3 months, thinking that would be what it took, you know, and I was not getting very much support or help from my family. I had friends that were willing to step in and help me, but I wasn't doing the things to help myself, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
And that's why I can understand or like empathize for DV victims, because it's like, it's easier to say than to be going through. And DV is a very complicated thing. There's multi-layered, different factors, you know what I'm saying? Like, you may feel safer with this person, even though when you're really not safe with this person, but pros and cons.
Yeah, well,
just to keep it.
It's it just sounds like a complete mind fuck.
Yeah, it really was.
And like,
but
you
it
say,
brought
like,
me to
I love
like,
this person, but this person's not safe. Like, how do I grapple with
and
that?
how do I care for this person that won't be able to care for me in the same way that I
but
care?
I keep going back. Parts of this person I really like.
Or keep allowing them to come back. Because you justify it because it's like, oh, well, I didn't. You know, so like, don't go back to toxic people. I like that quote, like, don't go back to toxic people just because you're alone, or something like that.
And
like,
that could be really hard sometimes.
Yeah, because if you feel like that's your only person.
That's right.
And I'm like,
it's better to be with this person than to be alone. We all justify and rationalize.
They're there for me. They still care because they keep showing up.
No.
But no, not necessarily.
The
Doesn't
reality
mean it's good.
the fantasy says that. The
right.
reality is different. Okay, well, so you got out of the relationship, and what happened?
And then, like,
You're finally closed the book, done.
Yeah. it took a lot. It took a long time. But even myself to like not try to like still open my mind to the possibility, like, oh, they're gonna come around, like, to like being a better person, but like they're not gonna. That's just what it is.
Right.
And some things you shouldn't forgive, or like you can forgive for the sake of forgiveness, but you don't need to forgive and like allow around you anymore.
Right.
How much more are you going to accept? Because technically it's acceptance. You're accepting the behavior if you continue it. So, and I accepted some things I never in my life would have thought I would be. But it all gained me some perspective, right? On that, you know what I mean? But that's the past, and I got past it, and I just never want to be there again, ever, for nobody.
This ended how long ago?
2022, like, so damn.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, like COVID was bad when it came to that too.
Right, and then you pour COVID on top of that.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, you know,
which is more isolating.
Right.
But I have this person.
And I guess that's why they felt so like I like stuck with
complicated.
me. Like,
very complicated.
It's very complicated. No one wants to be alone. But like, you know, this person was someone that lost their parents at a very young age, both parents, and like they knew how to play off in the sympathy that or whatever, you know. I can relate to that. So I'm like, they just didn't know no better. Or like,
right.
You know, we make these reasons, but none of it is good enough reason why. There's no why that would justify that behavior. I wouldn't do it to him. I wouldn't have done it. Some of the things, but I wasn't perfect either, you know, so like that also was milked off of or played off of, you know, nobody's perfect. So anyway, it just needed to be done. It really did.
I'm glad you got out.
Yeah, me too. I'm surviving. I ain't no victim.
Yes. Yeah, you're surviving.
What's up with that? That's a siren. That's a ambulance.
And so at 2022, you got out of that situation and went where?
Now I had to survive my property managers that were so angry that this kept happening.
You're still in U District?
I'm still at the department.
Okay.
2022, I went to, I think it was 2022, I left and I went to Africa for the first time in my life. It was like self-surgery and type shit. And went to South Africa. I met some family I'd never met in person before.
Incredible.
Yeah, like my cousins, they're a bit older than me, like they're like 35, 40, you know, but like we're hella tight. I had to change entirely, like from like using and doing, like partying almost every day. Right, like smoking hella cigarettes to 1 cigarette a day. Almost entirely no drinking. Cold turkey.
While you're in Africa?
Well, I was in South Africa just because it's like a very Muslim and cultural. That's like, I could hardly do hookah. Like, I'm like, what's wrong with hookah? But it's just, it's like, it's shameful to see. It's seen as shameful, like, you know, women have to be this way, that way, and, you know, that's a lot of why I am the way I am. Just like pro-woman, like, empowerment and stuff, like our voices and stuff. I'm so grateful to be American, but not to say that my experience was all bad. It's just, they almost tried to force me into marriage. I was like...
While you were there?
Yeah. Eventually.
How long were you there?
I was there for 3.5 months.
And
they were like, just marry before you leave. And I'm like, y'all crazy.
Wow.
They thought I was crazy. Like, that I was just down. And it's just a different way of life.
Different everything.
Yeah, I'm like, can I like know myself first, you know, or like who this person is? Like, can I know?
But you came there to try and find yourself.
To heal. Yeah, I came there to find myself, heal, learn family, tap in with the motherland.
Not come back with a
whole husband. Like, what the hell? Like, I have to go to a whole different country to try to find. Man, stop it.
But there was good parts to it. I assume. Great parts too.
There's amazing parts.
Yeah,
South Africa's popping, and it looks good too. Like the malls, everything. Like it's all misconstrued. The whole perspective of Africa. Like,
yeah.
And it's, you know, can I call for Wesley for a lighter real quick?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Wesley, can I use your light? Sorry, I did do that.
You gave yours away. That's fine.
Yeah, and I don't want to have.
We were talking earlier about the reality of. What
just
happens
lifestyle?
And no, just raw conversations.
Right. This is real life.
That's real life. It's fine.
Like I be out here and I be everywhere. Like it's not that it's like fun to always just be on the go, but like it's a good thing, but it's also wrong. It can be crippling. Because once I do get stability and I get a housing, which is very close, a lot of this is just gonna have to change like my way of thinking, because you know when you're on the streets or couch surfing, you're always moving in a certain way, whereas when I'm be a mother, like raise my kid and have go ahead, have a routine or something, that's a lot of that's gonna have to change. I'm still in the. Thank you. But yeah.
Well,
thank you. I'll just hold on to it for now. Appreciate you, bro.
So you got back from West Africa?
Yeah, or South Africa.
South Africa, sorry.
It's okay. Because they like speaking English and everything, and like they're like cool, you know, more developed, I guess you could say. Whereas like Ethiopia is going through wars still. They're killing off some people, like, you know, it's all like politics and stuff. And like based on your region, you could lose your life, you know, type of thing.
Wow.
Even though I'm from America, like I'm Oromo, and you know, just the language you speak, your culture, your heritage, like.
Are you're bilingual?
I am.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I speak a couple languages, but like the two I'm actually really good at is English and Oromo, which is an Ethiopian culture language people.
Yeah. Was that your first language growing up?
English is more so, but like my household was always, my mom always spoke Oromo to us, but my dad would talk to us in English, and we would respond in English.
Gotcha.
To either, you know, but we always 1,000% all my siblings understand.
Yeah.
But I took I made sure to not lose that, because we're the first generation, so meaning we're the first of our people's lineage to ever have been born and raised with this world.
In the States, right?
Yeah. Like this is all we know. And my mom used to hate that about us. The more I got older, like she should be like, "Why are you so American?"
Oh, she wanted to hold on to the culture.
Why'd you bring us to America? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Sorry, I don't know any other different, you know, but I'm still cultured. Like I was everywhere with her.
Yeah, you still have the culture. For sure.
Definitely.
You haven't lost
Apparently
it.
I have an accent.
I have not detected one yet.
I don't feel like I do.
But
people be like, you have an accent. I'm like, really? I don't find,
well, let's talk about, are you open to talking about you have a child?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
She's so dope.
She?
Yeah, it's a girl.
Oh, yeah. I have 2 girls.
Really?
Girls are incredible.
Yeah, I'm so new to it, but she's literally so awesome.
How old is she?
She's like 8 months now. What's it? So yeah, she's gonna be 9 months on the 11th of next month.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And where is she now?
She was with family for a long period. And towards the end of that, the last 2 months, 3 months of that, it wasn't good. 2 months of it. Mostly because my mom's controlling kind of dictatorship. I'm not going to get too much into that because I don't want to.
It's okay.
I don't want to. But honestly, yes, so now she's in foster care, which is what I actually requested during those 2-3 months of like it not being great with family. Because if it wasn't going to happen on my terms, or like, not to say that I'd want them to bring me around or have her around me if I was harmful or bad, but I wasn't. And that was the main thing keeping me going, was my baby. I was so close to being done with this whole CPS bullshit. But right now, she's with foster parents that seem to care really a lot about her well-being, and I can only pray to God that she's always going to be taken care of. Like, because I swear to God, I don't want to ever know. I want to know everything that's going on, period. I don't want to ever come to find out like anything in the slightest, like she's not being taken care of the way that I would want to take care of her, you know? I'm just not in the position, unfortunately. I'm homeless and stuff. I can hardly keep myself like it's consistent and safe, and I can't keep myself safe. I know how to manage myself, but now I want to transition into like being able to have some kind of structure, safety, and stability to have a child with me at all times.
Yeah, so you want your child back.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was never supposed to be not a part of.
Right, of course.
But life happens on life terms, and so like as long as she's in a place where she is going to be good and whatever. So like right now, it's all just a stepping stone, do one day at a time, right? So like getting back into my sobriety, she will not know me to be like an alcoholic or an addict. I want that to be a thing of like, oh, like one day my mom was that, but she doesn't know that.
Right. Right.
Not that I want to blindside, it's more so she deserves a functioning parent.
Didn't grow up with that.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Let's talk about your current situation.
I'm in between homes.
Okay. Well, you're unhoused.
Unhoused, yeah.
So where do you stay?
I stay with people that care for me, but I don't stay nowhere too long.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you stay in places
Outside,
days at a time.
Outside, inside, both?
Mostly both now. Yeah, kind of both. I was doing the tent thing that just don't be good because I lose everything. These people are vultures out, man. They steal everything. They do not care about nothing. The streets don't love nobody, period. We all know that, but like, it's like hungry people taking from hungry people.
No. Everyone's surviving.
It's not the only way to eat, though. It's crazy concept. We don't have to step on each other to like get somewhere, And I that's not how I maintain. But anyway, I'm not perfect though. I mean, I have my flaws, but I don't do the people dirty just to make, yeah. But anyhow, so right now I'm unhoused. I just need to get some housing. I got to get into like IOP again and do the sobriety thing now again. I'm not going to say too much because they could potentially see this. And I don't need them in my business any more than they are. But it's going to be good. I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to allow myself to fail if I have anything to do with it because I want her to know her mom.
Yeah.
And I want to know my daughter. Like, she's hella cool. Like, she doesn't cry unless she needs something. Like,
yeah.
She's always a smiley baby. She's such a good baby.
I love it.
And I'm so grateful. I was homeless like when I was pregnant.
Oh wow.
Survived, being out here last winter. And I had a tiny home. My baby dad he's hateful. He doesn't always come off that way. It is what it is. Like, I could talk about excuses or justify everything, but we can't, because she still didn't choose to be here. So, I'm gonna hopefully make it a good one for her.
Yeah.
During my time on this earth.
Well, there's this piece of like, you've already done it. You know what it takes.
Right.
You've done it. You've been sober, clean. You've done it. And
I've done that part.
There's that. You can do it again. You've done it. You've done military school.
Yeah, recovery.
Recovery, military school. So you've done these tough,
well, it takes
hard
commitments.
things.
Yeah.
And you talked
time.
about discipline earlier. It's like it's not easy.
So now it's a matter of incorporating what I've learned. But like, it's crazy how something like time management, which I've almost mastered, not really mastered, but like at 16, 17, is just such a hard thing. Yeah. Now at 27. I turn 28 like in next week or in a week and a half, and so like being grown, there's no excuses. So just doing what I can do. I can only do what I can do, So just I don't want to lose too much time with her, but if I have to go to rehab for 30 days, or if I can just do it myself at home, and getting that detox or whatever,
Yeah.
But it's just hard out here.
Yeah.
Real shit. Yeah. Being honest with you.
I can only
Every
imagine.
time you got to start over. Usually stuff. I lost so much just last week. But, it's also a consequence of my choices and stuff. So making better choices. I had set the standard too high for myself too, so like in making it more discouraged. I don't know. But anyway, I just hope to get through it. And I want to make memories, yeah.
Tell me about Aurora Commons. That's where we met.
Yep.
What is that place for you?
Aurora Commons is a place of like resources for me, getting the assistance that I can. I mean, they've helped me with my storage unit, which has all my property for what I was able to like downsize to and maintain from the 6 years at the apartment.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
And then like things that I've accumulated for my daughter or myself.
Right.
Since moving out 2 years ago. So, I don't know. I don't have a chance sometimes. So yeah, just basically like getting that stuff into a home and like being able to like make it homey. That's.
So you have stuff sitting waiting for a place.
Yeah, and they promised me this housing like it was supposed to be here like 5 months ago.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they said it was a 3 month at the most waiting list.
5 months ago.
No, 8 months ago.
Oh, gotcha, longer.
So they said at the most 3 months. It's been 8 and some change. So like,
Yeah, that process of getting housing seems so frustrating, complicated. There's not enough housing. It just seems like really,
but
really
this was
tough.
supposed to be directed to or targeted for mothers,
right,
new mothers,
right.
Domestic violence and survivors and stuff, and like none of that seems to really I don't think. But at the same time, there's multiple factors, I guess. But in the other side, I think that they weren't being honest about putting me on the list, or like actually, and I could complain about this, but like I just gotta get it together. Like that isn't.
Well, like that's what's
regardless.
so hard. It's like, okay, so your name's on a list. Where is that list?
Yeah. Who's actually putting me? Who's checking? I checked weekly too, daily almost.
Know. But I'll say this: the Aurora Commons, like they will.
They
advocate for you.
Yeah.
And they will fight for you.
But I'm mostly working with the DCYF.
Oh, gotcha.
DCYF, Department of Child, Youth, Family, something like that. But I'm not sure how much they really want me to win, And again, that's another thing I don't have the time to dwell on, because it's just gonna keep me like just stuck, frustrated.
Yeah.
And like. I'm in court with them now, so like I'm just not gonna get too much into, because I don't want nothing to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you saying like you don't want to get your hopes up?
I don't want nothing to like get in the way of me, or work, or like count against me.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like, because it doesn't seem like, because the reports that they make and the things that are actually happening aren't adding up. So it's like yeah, gotcha. I'm not sure. It's all a new process for me.
Okay.
And I'm a new mom. And then I had like postpartum and stuff, but like I think I'm past all that. Like I'm okay. It's just I need at least this foundation to happen, so I can get a lot more out the way, like paying for my storage that like doubled up on me 3 months in, and they never warned me.
Well, there's that bare minimum of like just stable housing. And then I could from there
that opens a lot more doors, or like it closes doors on the things that I don't need to be worried about, like my safety, like on a daily basis. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's.
And it's like not that it's always unsafe. It's just.
Well, if you're living on the streets, my guess is.
It's a day to day. You take a day to day.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. One last question before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Sia, is there anything that you'd want the people of Seattle to know?
I'm so Seattle. No, I don't know. My name is Nefsia. And I don't know. Say what's up, I guess. I don't know. What would you...
As
or like what example would you have?
Well, a lot of people... It's an open-ended question.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks who are unhoused...
Oh my God. It's easy to judge a book by its cover, but like it's not our job to judge, and to just treat each other with more kindness. Like and let's stop this snake behavior. There's a lot of like snakes out here. We need to have some kind of principle, but that's all I want to say to that. Sorry, I have to say it.
Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah. No problem. Thank you so much for it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome.
You're awesome.
I'll grab that little mic. You up for a little hug over here? I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Your sharing, your vulnerability.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.